see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Tuesday, March 26th, 2024, and this is episode 622 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled The Best Doorbell Ever, and I'll be chatting about the best doorbell I've ever seen, a job opening I came across in Minnesota, freedom, wealth, and so much more. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning, way early in the morning to old Pip, dropping in about 3:15 and asking a simple question. What did the FBI say to the doorbell? And we will have to wait and hope Pip shows up later to give us the answer, because there's no answer. There's no answer in the comments. So, Pip, if you are out there, please let us know what the FBI says to the doorbell. Jen G is not sure either. She was inquiring. Good morning. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Rewilder Life. Thinking about grabbing a second mini pot of espresso. Allergies kicking her butt. Oh, man. I think the pollen index here today is, I think it's like 10.5 or something, or 11. The weird part is they don't tell you what the scale is. Like the other day it was 7. Yesterday I think it was 8. And today it's supposed to be 10.5. But I don't know if that's out of like 10 or 50 or something like that. I'm not really sure. Good morning, Hunter, over on Twitch. Thanks for hanging out. Canadian Farmsteads Driving. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rewilder says, do you see the bridge collapse? Yeah, I do see the bridge collapse, and I have that on the bottom of my list today to get to, because I already had show prep done, but it looks like it happened overnight in Baltimore. Francis Scott Key Bridge. Oh, that's ironic. Francis Scott Key Bridge hit by a cargo ship. One of the pillars was hit. And yeah, it's fallen into the river. So awesome. I already lived through one bridge collapse in Minnesota when the I-35W bridge collapsed. Man, I think they were still talking about that shit when I was leaving, and it happened 20 years before. Oh, what year did that happen? Do you remember, Corey?
I don't. I was out of school, I think.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Pickle Pete says, anyone else having audio issues, or is it me? I don't know. Anybody else having audio issues, or is Pickle Pete having the problems this morning? If you guys let me know. Okay, Rewilder Life says fine there. Pete, it's on your end. On your end, Pete. Weird. Weird. Anyway, today, what is in the cup? Let's hit what's in the cup, and then we'll get right to it, because I got something super cool to show you guys. They may be able to tie this new discovery in my new discovery here in with the bridge collapse. Corey says 35W collapse was in 07, and they were still yammering about it quite a bit in 2022-ish. So it'll be a while. It'll be a while. In the cup today, more Silver Bullet Blend. Silver Bullet Blend is freaking fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Maybe if Pete could hear me, I would tell him, turn your volume up or unplug your headphones or plug your headphones in. Something like that. I don't know. We need to get sign cards I can hold up and give people technical advice over the non-audio form. Silver Bullet Blend is phenomenal. It looks good in the bag, it looks good in the grinder, and it tastes awesome in the cup. It's a blend of a light and a dark, and man, just so visually appealing. And I love drinking it. It's definitely turned on the captions. Oh God, can you imagine what the captions say when I talk? Jim already needs them. Jim's got hearing aids, I'm pretty sure. Probably the big old ones that you wear like the headgear with. It's got the big packs behind, because he's so old that I'm guessing his eardrums are probably not quite as elastic anymore and don't vibrate as good. Is that how that happens? Let me check over on Noster here, see if anybody's popping in. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning, Jim over on Noster. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Just bagging on you over here a little bit over on the YouTubes in the comments. So it's Rachel. Rachel brought it up. Rachel's digging. I think she's trying to push us away from the fact that it may be. Is it your birthday this week, Rachel, or next week? It's coming up, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I thought she mentioned that it was coming up, but anyway, Silver Bullet in the cup. I appreciate every pound I drink of Food Forest Farms coffee, because I know that Brian himself, one guy roasts every pound that comes out of that roastery. And you can tell it's definitely got the attention to detail. It's definitely got that hand roasted vibe to it, man. It's I really enjoy it. Pickle Pete got his audio working, and if you didn't know, Pickle Pete, and I'll tell you a little background here. Pickle Pete is Brian from Food Forest Farms. He joins us every morning in the live stream before he goes live with his show right after mine. But he has to use an alias because somehow YouTube blocked him from my comments. He blocked him from my live stream comments, blocked him from my video comments, and we can't figure out how. I can get them after the fact. I get no notifications after the fact. If he comments on a video, I can go in around and go to the video and see the comment. I get no notifications. I get nothing in my back end of my my YouTube dashboard, anything like that. And I don't see his live feed comments either on my live streams or on other people's live streams. So if we were both watching the same live stream and he is commenting there, I don't see his comments. And it's so odd. I've worked with YouTube. I've worked myself troubleshooting on the interwebs and can't figure it out. It's the oddest thing I've ever experienced. So we adapted and overcome, and he used one of his 7 other YouTube aliases, and he logs in the morning. So Pickle Pete says, my trying to do time segments only lasted 36 minutes. I tore up the script and things went better. You couldn't follow a script? I have anywhere to talk. That's why I put a list of topics that I'm going to talk about, and I talk about whatever comes out of my mouth. But with that, man, I'm so excited. You guys don't even understand. I'm so excited that I'm putting the Daily Stoic segment that's on my notes is right after coffee, like coffee, then the Daily Stoic, to really kind of smooth into things. I cannonballed the Daily Stoic down about 4 or 5 spots because I found something yesterday. Well, actually, I found it last week-ish. Sometime last week, I read about this and I was like, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. But kind of just went past it. And then this week, yesterday, I saw another post about this. And I read it and I was like, okay, this is the second time in 2 weeks. This is trying to tell him, this is the universe telling me I should check this out. And my God, am I glad I did. Like, you're going to hear this and you're going to be like, what? And then you're going to check it out and you're going to be like, okay. I see where you're going with this. I definitely see where you're going with this. Jim says, I hear you. You can still, Jim's over on Noster hanging out, guys. If you know anybody that's using Noster, you can go hang out at zap.stream or find me on my Amethyst. If you use Amethyst client, you can find me there, streaming live over on Noster. Trying it, keeping going. I appreciate Jim over there with all the zaps and all the other folks that swing through and hit me with zaps over there. That keeps me afloat because I spend lightning to keep that going over there. So I appreciate that. Jim, actually, I got to follow up with you after and see how things are over there and if there's anything that needs to change. So I'll catch up with you after the show today or this week sometime. I appreciate it. So my discovery, and I'm sure people have heard of this and they're going to be like, why are you so excited about this? But man, I spent like 2 minutes on this site and I was hooked. I was hooked. So I don't even know where to start, guys. Like, I just want to just show you. So there is a place in Holland, the Netherlands. Is that the politically correct name for Holland is the Netherlands, or is that two separate places? Like, I've always those small Scandinavian countries, or it might not be small, but little talked about Scandinavian countries here in the US. I get kind of mixed up in my head sometimes because they change names so often, but I'm pretty sure that that Holland and the Netherlands are the same or very similar. Anyway, the website's in Dutch, and thank God for technology, because both on my phone and on my desktop have a little button that pops up that translates it to English, and that's just slick as shit. But this website is in Dutch, so if you want to go, I will. I'll drop the website address in the comments, the live feed comments, and then over in the Telegram chat, I'll read it off for you people. I'll read it off for the people that are listening to audio and don't want to go search it down. It's pretty easy to find. Pickle Pete says he went to school in Erasmus. I'm guessing that's how you say it in English, but probably not in Dutch. In Rotterdam. That's great. I don't know anything about the Netherlands other than wooden shoes and windmills and tulips. Tulips. This is where Tulip Mania started, I think. It's the Netherlands. Holland is just slang. Okay, perfect. Okay, gotcha. Thanks for the explanation. See, I needed somebody that's actually been there. Anyway, I ran across this a post last week and then moved on to other things. I was like, nah, that's an interesting idea. Well, yesterday I was scrolling on Facebook, doing a little pre-show, getting a couple ideas. I had a few things, and then I then I went on to find this again. So the story goes that there is a river in the Netherlands that they ended up putting a dam in. And when they put the dam in, they forgot about the fact that there are fish that swim up the river to spawn every year, like fish do everywhere, all over the world. It's not just Dutch fish that do this, but there's a river, they put a dam in, there's fish trying to get up the dam, or up the river past the dam, so they put a little door in, and then the fish can come up to the door and go through, but then there were predators that figured this out, so they would sit on the other side of the door. So all the fish would come and they would gather, and then they would go, and then they would get eaten. As what I gather, translation's kind of rough at some points, and I haven't dug in completely because I got sidetracked when I went to the website. But somebody had listed the website. I took a leap of faith because the website, let me see, I want to read it to you guys. It was definitely a leap of faith going to the website that was visdeurbel.nl. I guess it's visdoorbell.netherlands. I'm going to bring it up on the screen and show you what this is. So somebody in their infinite wisdom dropped a camera down in the river, and they made a web app that makes a doorbell. It's a little doorbell. Here, I'll scroll down. Well, here, I'll read this opening for you. Do you see a fish? Press the bell. Welcome to the fish doorbell. Will you help open the lock gates for the fish? Fish swim up the rivers every spring, straight through the Utrecht, looking for a place to lay eggs and reproduce. Help open the lock for the fish. So you scroll down here. There's a weekly journal of all the fish that come through the dam and pictures of it. And then you get down to this cool part, and you can see I've been on here for half an hour. I've been watching this. And I don't know if you guys can really see what that is with what you're viewing, but what this is a camera underwater. And it's not super exciting all the time, but when something goes by or bubbles go by, I get excited. And if you look over here on the right, this pink square with the white dot in the middle, this is the doorbell. So when a fish swims up to the camera, you're supposed to hit the doorbell and it takes a picture of the fish. There's other spots on the site where you can go see the pictures that people have gotten of fish. And then there's also a bunch more information on the site about what kind of fish are in the river and things like that. They do a weekly journal update about the fish traffic for the week. But I thought I was insane because I started watching this thing and like I couldn't look away. Like last night when I was watching it, it was dark there. So like right now, can't read it on this little screen. I gotta flip back over to my other. Right now it's noon there. It's 12:17 and counting in the Netherlands. And they say that the fish are most active in the morning and in the at dawn and dusk, just like if you were fishing. But last night I was watching and I was like, it was dark and they must have a light there, or the camera, it was light sensitive. And so I'm watching and all of a sudden like bubbles came up and then some like chunk of crap, like a stick or something goes by the screen. And I was like, oh, holy crap. I thought it was a fish. And I found myself engrossed in watching this camera, waiting for a fish to swim by. And I was like, all right, well, this is a little silly. And then all of a sudden, I went somewhere, I did some more research, I came back, and the screen was gone, the viewing screen, and the doorbell was gone. It was just a YouTube link. I looked down through the rest of this. Okay, right now, guys, right now in the middle of the day when there's see the bubbles? That gets me excited. I think there might be a fish coming. There must be a fish coming. But right now, guys, there's 942 people. Well, plus everybody that's watching it through my stream, but there's 942 people logged into this live stream right now. Their server can only handle like 950 people. So once their server bogs down with people watching the live stream, it actually boots you to a YouTube feed of the live stream that there's no doorbell on. So I have to imagine at the peak times, at the dawn and dusk times when the fish are most active, that you got to like stand in line. You probably have to stand in line to get the doorbell to pop up. But guys, this is like a new obsession. I'm wondering if this is going to end up like in my up in the corner of my screen, something like that. But whoever decided to lay this out has got me hooked. He has definitely got me hooked. I mean, really, Chris Dixon says, so it's like ice fishing with 950 people at the same hole. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much if you're using a clear view or something. I don't know. You guys just want to sit here and watch? I can make this the full screen. We can sit here and just watch the fish all day if you want. Like, oh man. So yeah, I got hooked last night. I watched it for probably like 10 minutes, but it was dark. In the summer, from what I read in the summer at night, you get a good chance of catching an eel and some other nocturnally active species. But mostly the fish you're going to see is during the day. So I can't wait to see my first fish. I did see some junk float by, lots of bubbles. So I don't know the scope of the screen yet. I haven't figured out like if a fish swims up, is he like enormous? Is it like a little sunfish and then the fish is just enormous on the screen? Yeah, I have a feeling that I'm going to invest way too much time into this. way too much time. I actually asked Corey this morning if she wanted me to send her the link so she could watch it at work, and she said no. She doesn't find it as interesting as me. But I dropped the link. Don't be scared of it. It is in Dutch there. I dropped the link in the chat if anybody is interested in following along with this epic story with me. And I will throw it over in the Telegram chat too. But man, it definitely the anticipation is where it's at, I think, with this one. So bookmark that shit, guys. Bookmark it. And so I figured out that dawn in the Netherlands is probably around midnight central ish. I don't know what time the sun rises there, but the sunrise around here would be about midnight ish, and then obviously dusk would be, it's noon there now, so I don't know, like two-ish, 1, 2. I don't know what the sunrise and sunset in the Netherlands are. It'd be easy to look up, but that's what you're looking at for most fish activity. And like I said, with only 950 people supported on the live stream, you're going to have to definitely probably you're probably going to have to log in a little early to make sure you have access to the doorbell, unless you're just in for the viewing pleasure. And I have to think when a fish comes up that with 950 people watching, that button gets smashed so hard. Just absolutely smashed. So that's my new obsession, guys. So I thought I would bring that up front. I'm super excited. That's the coolest doorbell I've ever seen. I see all these pictures or these videos on TikTok and Facebook and all places of the Ring cameras, the stupid shit they catch, the obviously staged stuff that they catch. But what's better than waiting on a fish? My nephew, who is I don't know, he was probably 4 when this was going on. I don't know. Is he still obsessed with the Eagles? Oh, he moved on from the Eagles. My nephew, when he was like 3 or 4 years old, they have the live cameras of the Eagles nest, the bald Eagles nest. He was obsessed with watching the Eagles at Grandma's house. So he'd go over to Corey's parents' house, and they would have the iPad with the live Eagle cam, and the kid would just like watch the Eagles sit on the eggs. It's like obsessed with the Eagles. And I was like, well, I always thought it was a little goofy, but then I started watching the fish camera, and at least when he was watching the Eagles, there was actually an eagle there. I'm just watching water. So Jen says, thanks for the link. I need another distraction. You're welcome. And what a great distraction it is. Oh man. So shortly after I found the fish doorbell, they hit me in the face with a story I couldn't resist talking about. Now, it's everything that I really just don't give a shit about. But I had to John Palmer asked in the Telegram group if I saw anything about the bridge collapse. Yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit, I think. So this next story is, Hunter says bunny cam. Yeah, dude, live cameras of animals, lights out. It's if it gets shared, like if you get shared on some silly morning news show, like a puff piece, or some influencer finds your shit and thinks it's funny or cute or whatever, and it gets shared. It could just be an empty nesting box with a camera on it saying, there's bunnies under there, just wait for them to hop out. And it's just it's just empty. You got to roll. You got some view time there for sure. The Eagle cams are fantastic. So I think there's probably, God bless you, Corey, from Jen. She says, thank you. I see in Reed's Rabbitry in the future. Hey, Backwoods Butcher says, just wanted to stop in and say hi. It's my oldest's birthday, so I'm not going to hang out. Happy birthday to your oldest. Happy birthday to your oldest. Rewilder Life says she's going to do an animal feed at the homestead, $5 a month. Damn rabbits are going to get a webcam before I do. Hunter says, I think, I definitely think Reed's Rabbitry will have a live feed camera sooner rather than later. You really should. They're super. You got Wi-Fi where you keep your rabbits? It'd be super easy to set up. Super easy. Anyway, the story that popped up, I don't really give a fuck about any of it. I really don't. But I wanted to share it just because I was like, this shows you the complete insanity that is going on. Hunter says, yeah, man, sign up for a separate YouTube account and let it sit for a couple days, post some videos about your bunnies, and then after the 24 or 36 hour hold, fire up a live feed, man. Straight to YouTube. You might want another laptop to do it or something, like just a small computer to run that by itself, but new project for you. This news story is just showing the absurdity of what's going on. So if you haven't followed the show for long, Corey and I are on the road, semi on the road. Right now we're sitting. We wanted to sit for a year, get the full year cycle of the climate, the weather, the people, and everything around the area that we're thinking about grabbing some land and sitting down for a longer term. Still traveling and expanding the network of properties. Not an earthquake, guys. Don't worry. So we're sitting down here for about a year. That's coming up here pretty quick, and we're making a decision. Still an itch, guys. Just still an itch. Don't worry. My God, must really itch. Must really be an itch over there. And so we used to live in Minnesota before we took off. Corey was born and raised there. Never lived anywhere else. I grew up in New York, moved to Minnesota in my early 20s and was there for 20-ish years. A little over 20 years. So if you don't know about Minnesota, well, actually, she lived in the cities right outside Minneapolis for her whole life, basically, until she met me. We owned a house together in the suburbs. We decided to get out of the suburbs. We moved to a homestead about 90 miles outside of the cities. And Minnesota basically is a rather conservative state with 4 big pockets of liberals. The state is always blue on the map. I mean, when Ronald Reagan won 49 out of 50 states, Minnesota was the only fucking state that voted for Walter Mondale. So that'll give you the idea of how they swing. But the vast majority of the state seems to be rather conservative. The old story, rural versus city. Well, Minnesota's Karen heavy. Yeah, it was, and now it's worse. It is definitely worse. You have so then you have the George Floyd riots. You have defund the police movement. You have this is over the years before we left. You have a very, very liberal city council in Minneapolis. And then it quickly spread to the first ring suburbs. So the suburbs right around the city. So you got the city, then you got the first ring suburbs. It really ramped up there. And I think part of that is because the populations are still large for these inner ring suburbs, like 50 to a couple 100,000 people, depending on which one and how big it is, but way easier to push agendas and push ideals in those small towns. City government, school districts, blah, on and on and on. Then there was a huge influx of refugees from Somalia. There was a huge influx of refugees from some other places, and they intentionally maybe put them in concentrated areas. So instead of interspersing them and acclimating isn't the right word, integrating them into society that they're moving them into, they put them in huge clusters in cities and towns to keep them comfortable in their own societies. Pickle Pea says 100% intentional. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to lay down the 100%, but I'll give her a 99.9%. So there's these pockets of cultural don't go there, basically. If you didn't ever want to go to Somalia and experience drug lords and street justice, don't go hang out in certain parts of St. Paul or the areas that I'm going to be talking about here. So the first ring suburbs, we got St. Louis Park, Minnesota. We got Bloomington, Minnesota. Pickle Pea says Minnesota got Somalis, Detroit got Pakistanis. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. So we're going to be talking about the Edina, St. Louis Park. If you're familiar with the Twin Cities, we're going to be talking about that area. News thing popped up on my feed. Now I have to take the source as with a grain of salt. It is definitely a right-wing hit piece news story website. When I was back in Minnesota a long time ago, I was still interested in politics. I was pretty conservative. I made the natural progression for an anarchist from, liberal-ish in college. Like, didn't know what the fuck I was talking about anyway, but thought that all the, whatever. And then as you transition, you start paying more and more taxes, and then you transition to a Republican, and then a conservative, and then a libertarian, and then a whatever, anarchist in the end. So in my more conservative days, I followed a lot of the gotcha news, the gotcha news stations. If a liberal farts in church, there's a camera behind him with a microphone going, "Oh my God, the governor disrupted the whole church service by ripping a big fart." Like, wait, what? Why do you know that? Why do you know that? Well, anyway. So the news source is what it is. It's a gotcha news site. But what they put on there was totally legitimate. The way they wrote it might have been a little suspect, but what they did pull facts. They did pull actual things, but there is a job listing that they were talking about for the city of St. Louis Park School District. Now, this is a pretty big school district, I would have to say. I don't think I don't think that the article got into the actual size of the school district. They did get into the demographics, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the job opening that they're talking about is for an assistant superintendent. So if you don't know, probably like if you're my age or close to my age, when you grew up, how many superintendents and assistant superintendents and principals and assistant principals were in your school? My school, when I started, I had one superintendent of schools, a principal for every building, because there were like 3 different buildings, and that was about it. As we transitioned towards the end of my high school career, I think we added in a dean of students. The layers of bureaucracy were starting to come in. When I was involved in the school district about 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago, it feels like it had exploded. That the layers of, well, let's let's hire another principal instead of paying teachers more, because they're always complaining about pay, but they're more than willing to hire another administrator to administrate things. And what do they need to administrate is exactly what this job posting is. This job posting is for, I don't know if I need to pull it up here. It's just a newspaper article. But I'm gonna hit the highlights. It says the head of the article here. I should share it. I can share it. The head of the article says school district wants administrator who can examine the presence of whiteness. This was literally in the sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get this stopped and this over there. Sorry, guys. This is literally in the job posting. Is they need to be able to examine the presence of whiteness. Oh, Rachel says, wow, just wait. Rachel says, my late father-in-law was a principal for 35 years. He retired in 92 and talked about all this BS. Yeah. Hunter says, my youngest school is like that. Okay. I got to switch over here. I'll be back to the comments in just a second. But St. Louis Park is hiring an assistant superintendent, annual salary of $134,000 to $201,000, depending on how much whiteness you can spot. I imagine is that pay gap there. But anyway, let's see some of the things that are in this job description. Job description indicates the role will have a variety of a very particular focus. Excuse me. The first sentence of the position summary says, now this is the first sentence, guys, in this job position summary. The assistant superintendent proactively supports the superintendent, who was recently hired within the last year, I believe, to create and communicate anti-racist structures and systems, works to interpret systems of oppression, and serves as a role model for culturally relevant pedagogy. Sounds great, doesn't it, guys? Sounds great. The school district continues the summary of the position by saying that the assistant superintendent must be unwaveringly committed to anti-racist actions and use data to adapt and sustain their efforts towards racially equality to plan, direct, and coordinate action to achieve the mission and strategic objectives. And they pointed out, as a matter of fact, words such as anti-racist and racial equality and other related phrases appear in the job description over a dozen times. Guys. What is going on? Now you would think that the KKK or somebody is like setting up in the hallways when kids are coming to school, like all the white kids get to just wave and walk by, and the little black kids, I don't know, they got to put their handcuffs on or something when they come to school. It sounds like a really, really racist place. The job description continues by saying the school district is seeking an assistant superintendent who can, quote, examine the presence and role of whiteness in systems and structures and is, quote, open to feedback regarding their own racial blind spots. Yeah. You guys want to know what the demographic? Oh, here we go. They did have the number of students. So St. Louis Park has just over 4,500 students enrolled across its 9 schools. So this lady or man that gets hired with this is going to be roughly in charge of 4,500 students' racial and racist outlooks on life. Roughly 53% of the students are white. Just over 20% of the students are black, 12.5% are Latino, and the remaining percentage, which they don't even show, how racist is that? What do we got? 73, 85.5. So what's that? 14.5%. I did the math there for them. Are different ethnic minorities. According to U.S. News and World Report, only 34% of the high school students in St. Louis Park public schools are proficient in math. So maybe we should stop worrying about being racist and worry about learning math. And 58% of the students are proficient in reading. Despite this, they have an 85% graduation rate. All right. We're going to just put aside. We're going to put aside the fact that they're trying to hire a race czar or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to talk about the fact that that's the thing. That's the thing that really blew my mind. The fact that they're hiring a superintendent to focus on race when these numbers I just read are there. Did you guys hear this? Did you wrap your head around this? Only 34% of high school students in St. Louis Park public schools are proficient in math. Now, I don't know if the 4,500 students is 9 schools. That's not high schools. So we're not talking 34% of 4,500. It's got to be a smaller number. I'd have to do the dig in, and I don't even care enough to do that. But 34% of the high school students in St. Louis Park public schools are proficient in math. Only 34%. That means that 66%, two-thirds of the students in this school are not proficient in math. And 58% are proficient in reading. So 42% are not proficient in reading. With 66% not proficient in math and 42% not proficient in reading, how do they have an 85% graduation rate? How is this possible? I don't understand. Oh, I do know. They just push them through. I have firsthand experience with this. Not going to go into that ever. If you guys want to see an aneurysm, if you want to see my eyeball pop out. Hunter says context. I don't know, man. I don't know. Proficient means that they can pass a fucking test. Pickle Pete says the objective is not education. It is. Well, depends on the education you want to give them. Reading, writing, arithmetic doesn't necessarily mean education. I mean, we're hiring someone to teach them how racist they are. I'm guessing that math and reading just don't matter. I'm guessing that the more we keep them dumb, the easier they are to control. Maybe. Dixon says you can't pad the budget without grads. Yeah, I mean, I do. I totally understand why. Why is it okay? And why aren't the parents in the school district? And why? Oh, wait, because they don't give a shit either. Because most of them, I'm going to tell you something, guys, dirty little secret. There is of that 52% was or 20. How many I'm trying to, sorry, I lost my tab here. It's 52, 53. The 20% that are black, I would gather, and this is just a guess, and this probably changed since I've been there. I'm going to estimate low. I would guess that probably 50 plus are non-English speaking, black, Somalian, native Somalian speaking, whatever dialect they choose to use there, because I've heard them fighting over that too. So the parents aren't mad. They're just happy that the kids are gone. I don't know. Hunter says, no, it doesn't. It means they test less than 85%. Hunter says it might mean 85% or 87%. Well, you don't know. How do you know what proficiency means in Minnesota? I think that if proficiency means that they're proficient in it, they should be able to be proficient in it and graduate. Like, I think anything that you are graduating from, you should be proficient in. Pickle P says that's because funny because Somali moms don't usually work, so why send them away? I'll tell you, because they're scamming the Minnesota state government out of daycare money. You guys want to be infuriated? Just Google that once or twice. Google Minnesota Somalian daycare scam. It's almost like they had somebody that when they came here, they sat them down and said, this is how you make a lot of money for your friends back home. Or, yeah, I don't know. That one was while I was still there. It's probably still ongoing because they never ratcheted down, even when they caught them, they didn't stop them. But basically, overhead view, if you don't want to hit the Google search, is basically groups of Somali women. They would set up a daycare, and all the women were the employees, and all the kids were the daycare kids. But nobody ever fucking did anything, and it was just a building where they were collecting state aid as a daycare. Lots and lots of state aid. Small business state aid, daycare supplemental state aid, all the state aid, and literally the money went into account and back to Somalia, like boom, boom. And somebody blew a whistle on it, and they were like, "Woo, we don't know how to stop it." There you go, in a nutshell. If you really want to get into the numbers were mind-boggling. Numbers were absolutely mind-boggling on what they ran away with. What else is on the list? I can't talk about racist superintendents anymore. That's why I quit carrying, because I'm like, I just can't understand it, and it irritates just the living shit out of me. Like, if you have racism, if you have blatant racism, you have whatever you consider racism, say something. I mean, it's horrible. There's no reason to not like people because of their race. Like, I just hate everybody. I hate everybody across the board. Nobody can fucking say anything about it. Pickle B says almost like they wrote the plan in advance. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Wealth and freedom was next on my list. This came from the Daily Stoic yesterday. Daily Stoic, link in the video description, in the audio description. Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, basically a Stoic quote and a follow-up, Stoic quote and follow-up daily, kind of a daily meditation that I've been rolling through. Chris Dixon says, I hate everyone equally. I'm also fun at parties. So yesterday, March 25th, this one struck a chord with me, definitely, because it rings true in my life. The title from March 25th was Wealth and Freedom Are Free. And the quote from Epictetus, it was a partial quote, but it says, freedom isn't secured by filling up your heart's desire, but by removing your desire. Read it again for you. Freedom isn't secured by filling up your heart's desire, but by removing your desire. The follow-up by Ryan Holiday says, there are two ways to be wealthy: to get everything you want, or to want everything you have. Which is easier, right here and right now? The same goes for freedom. If you chafe and fight and struggle for more, you will never be free. If you could find and focus on the pockets of freedom you already have, well, then you'd be free right now. right here, right now. The last sentence made me pause. As I transitioned to moving into the travel trailer and we minimized our stuff, being happy with what you have and not necessarily wanting more to be happy kind of came along with it. Like, as you're throwing stuff away, you really have this light switch moment where you're like, the shit doesn't matter. The stuff doesn't matter. It's a means to an end. They're tools, they're supplies, they're nourishment, things like that. But in the end, holding on to things doesn't matter. It's not going to make you happy. If you're happy with what you have, then by default, you're happy. When you figure out how to be happy with what you have, then everything you get is a blessing. And everything you get, you evaluate in that lens is this really what I need? Is this going to make me more happy than what I have? Or am I just accumulating stuff trying to fill a hole? The freedom part of it made me pause. And after I thought about it for a little while, I think I came to the conclusion that just being okay with the freedom you have. I remember how he put that. Hold on a second. If you could find and focus on the pockets of freedom you already have, you'd be free right now. Okay. Finding and focusing on the freedom you already have. I immediately knee-jerk said, that's just being complacent, living in the pockets of freedom you have as they take them away. And I don't think that necessarily precludes you from seeking out more freedom, finding more ways to pursue more freedom, but just understanding the freedom you already have. None of us are chained up in a room with a blindfold on and earbuds in with music blasting, so you can't be free in your own mind. That is just a basic level of freedom. But as Hunter says, enjoy the suck. Yeah. As we discover these different ways where we are free, I'm free to an extent. Like, I have free will. I can choose after this show. I can sit here and upload the audio. I can do my morning routine. I can take the dog for a walk, or I can say fuck it and walk out the door and leave forever. I have free will. Like, nothing is stopping me from doing that. Would it be the wisest choice? Would it be in my best interest? Absolutely not. Like, I wouldn't ever do that. But the free will is there. I do have freedom to do what I want. I think we convince ourselves that we're a lot less free than we are. I think propaganda, I think it serves both sides of the freedom coin, and really defining freedom for what does that actually mean. We're not in a free country. If you haven't noticed that, this is no longer the home of the free, the land of the free, and the home of the brave. But we're free-ish. We're free-ish. When I stepped away from the bickering and the back and forth between the left and the right about freedom and taking away my freedoms and this and that, I realized that it doesn't matter. We always use the picture of how can they worry about all of us. It's the whole plantation. How did the slave owners keep the slaves on the plantation when there were 1,000 slaves and one slave owner? If they all decided to walk, what are they going to do? But they stayed. So what's keeping you from just walking quietly? Quietly. Yeah, Chris Dixon hit a great one there. Dixon says, yeah, the bubble in your head. Well, guess I need a little bit before that. Pickle Pete says, freedom exists in bubbles, location, location, location. Chris Dixon says, yeah, the bubble in your head. Yeah, like in your day-to-day life, you say, I'm not free. They're taking away my freedom. Like, what are you restricted from doing that you want to do? You really want to do. And as much as we want to talk about and hate on the government and all that, I mean, my thoughts are very well. I'm not a fan of the government, but what are they restricting me from doing today that I really want to do? And if I really want to do it, then I just have to evaluate the consequences. If I truly want to do something right now, what is stopping me from doing it? Nothing, really. There will be consequences, and we've never really proclaimed that freedom means freedom from consequences. So as oppressive as our government is, as oppressive as the whole world is on me and you, what is it stopping you from doing? I don't know. Just a question I had from that. So I don't think finding the freedom you already have really limits anything. I was really immediately, and that's the thing with thought-provoking stuff you read, is there's going to be a knee-jerk reaction, but stop and think about it. And I really knee-jerk reaction says, if I stop and I'm okay with the freedom that I already have, I won't be pursuing anymore. And if you're not moving forward, you're standing still, you're moving backwards. That whole thing. If I'm not fighting for more freedoms, they're going to take more away. Are they? Maybe the consequences just change. Maybe that's what they're talking about. They're going to implement more consequences for doing what I choose. And I just have to be okay with the consequences. I don't know. Couple people mentioned it, but yes, Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. If you haven't seen this morning, if you got up, you don't watch the news, you don't use the interwebs or anything like that. Yeah, it got hit by a ship. From what I could gather right before the show, a container ship hit a pillar on the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. It's one of the main entrances, exits out of the city, other than the tunnel, this and that. But yeah, bridge is in the water. Cars are in the water. They don't know how many people are in the water. Luckily, it happened overnight, so I'm guessing traffic wasn't that bad. The bridge wasn't fully loaded. But yeah, they don't know. They don't know how many people are in the water. Bridge is completely down. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Hunter says it simply crumpled. Yes, it did. Like I was looking at that going, what the hell happened? And I thought like the ship was huge and it like plowed through the bridge. Literally just hit a one of the pillars and the thing went boop, like the ones you build out of popsicle sticks and shit. Pickle Pete says not happy with wealth extraction via Vivian money at the point of a gun. Don't make any money. That's a consequence of the freedom of making money is paying the man. Or go somewhere where they don't take it. There, fix that one. Well, wanting to pay my own way and be left alone with within the bounds of the law, I was wrong. Litigated all the way to my state Supreme Court, self-represented. John Palmer says life is reverse moving sidewalk. I'm giving the Pierce County Zoning Board a run for the money. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it really is. what are you going to do? Back to the freedom thing. What are you going to do about it? Other than personally, like Pickle Pete is battling the zoning board for his personal advancement of something that he owns that's relevant to him. I have no no cards in the hand for Pickle Pete. I don't have any cards in that, so it's not a freedom fight for me. I don't know what I don't know what group activity, what it's not an election, obviously it's not an election, but Pickle Pete says his neighbors are joining him against the board. Yeah, because it's relevant to them. But I'm saying these nationwide, like, we're not going to repeal taxes. You have to understand that the people that you are trying to persuade to do things benefit from the things that they're doing, so they're not going to change. I don't think that's giving in. I don't think that's conceding to them. I think you just need to focus on what really matters to you and what really affects you and what juice is worth the squeeze. I'm not saying don't stop and fight. Like, if for some reason I was sitting here and the government says, yeah, no more, you can't be there anymore, and I want to be here, and I own this and that, of course I'm going to stand up and fight, because they're trying to take away the freedoms I have, the freedoms that I realized that I had, and I'm happy to have. Going back to that, be free with what you have now. But if they're going to take it, that's something else. That's a different story. Personally. And if there's personally something I can do about it, and it's going to make a difference. me screaming about presidential elections and congressional elections and bills in the US House and TikTok bans and blah blah blah, all the shit that they distract you with, doesn't make you free, doesn't make you more or less free on your day-to-day basis. Hunter says, I'm seeing that movie clip. Put down the gun. No, what? Why not? Because I don't wanna. Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. It's a long winding thought process, and I don't claim to be right. I don't claim to be all knowledgeable. I just go with what is making sense, and sit down and think about things and move forward with it. And that one from yesterday in the Daily Stoic definitely made me think. There's been some really good ones lately, guys. Like I suggest, if you want to get in and read that every day, they do have an ebook form. They have the hardcover. They also have a journal that accompanies it that you can write your thoughts and do some journaling over the ideas posed. I haven't gone the route of getting the journal yet. I have a pretty decent routine with just sitting and contemplating, getting it stuck in my head at the beginning of the day and letting it resonate. Thought I'd bring it to you today. So anyway, guys, like I said, I threw the link for the fish doorbell. If you guys want to check that out and get sucked into that, I threw it in the Telegram group at t.me/lots chat, t.me/lots chat, or you can swing by and look at the live chat feed from early in the show if you want to catch it there. Otherwise, you can email me at info@thelotsproject.com, and I'd be happy to send it to you. Or I'm sure you can just Google Dutch fish doorbell. Hunter says, do you think it'll be a year after year thing for you? The Daily Stoic? Yes. I will continue with that after the new year. I really do. I think the more the more you read it, the more you're going to pick up from it. And every time you read it, depending on the life situation you're in at the moment or the mood or what's going on, what's relevant, I think these are such broad, sweeping statements and ideals that you could read the thing. You could read the same quote every Tuesday for the next 6 weeks and have something different come from it. Maybe not 6 weeks, 6 months. Every the first of every month. If you had 30 of these, just 1 month instead of a whole year, I think you would probably gain benefit just reading it every month, in my opinion. If you want to take it like that. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna wrap up. We're after here, and Scrambling's waiting to get started over there on the West Coast, on the left coast, and he's gonna rock it and take it away here from 5 to 6. Other than that, I appreciate everyone listening, and if you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit that like, share, and subscribe to return value for value. Please head over to thelotsproject.com, check out the shop, grab some comfrey t-shirts, mugs, all sorts of stuff available there. Salty and sign up for that. You can also hit that like, join the YouTube membership tiers, or listen on any value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm. Visit thelotsproject.com to find all my partner companies, discount codes, affiliate links, and all sorts of information about me. It's Tuesday, guys. It's Tuesday, and I hope you enjoy your tasty Tuesday. I'm going to be heading out to Delinquent's Gully to catch up with Tool Man Tim for a little bit before he heads out of town again. Stopped out there last night and spent night on the property, so I'm excited to see how that went during all the big rainstorms, thunderstorms that rolled through the area. Have an awesome day, guys, and next time we talk to you, it'll be hump day.